Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassett, and Anthony Richardson Jr. had his last preseason performance last night. And although he played all right, hitting the Fly Eagles Fly on his first touchdown drive, what I think the Colts really need to be discussing is why Gardner Minshew is not their starting quarterback. Gardner Minshew went 9 for 11, 102 passing yards, 1 touchdown with a 135.6 QB rating. Now, whether or not you believe Anthony Richardson is the future, it feels like Gardner Minshew is the right now. Patrick.
Yeah, pretty bold of a guy to sit there and do a Fly Eagles Fly and then go 6 for 17, which my math tells me that's below 50%. They do win the game, but clearly, Minshew Mania is playing better than Anthony Richardson right now. But they invested a lot in this guy, Josh.
And I understand, but I feel like you can still invest in a guy, say, hey, this is going to be this guy's team because we spent a top 3 draft pick on him, but then maybe roll him out halfway through the season. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, who everyone's saying might be the greatest quarterback talent of all time, didn't even play the first 75% of his rookie season. So,
it's true, Josh.
So I feel like the Colts could maybe benefit from starting Minshew, who seems to be playing really well, and then rolling out Anthony Richardson. And then maybe we find ourselves in a Trey Lance situation where Minshew's just too good. And then they're like, well, are we going to even use Richardson? I'm not sure about that. I'm not saying that's the case, but with Minshew, I think anything's the case.
And Josh, and here's the thing, is Minshew, it's Minshew Mania. You get the mustaches going. Did we forget how electric that was in Jacksonville? He goes to the Eagles last year. He's a backup for Jalen Hurts, which is a similar style quarterback as Anthony Richardson. I mean, look, let's put the pieces of the puzzle together. Minshew Mania deserves to be in Indianapolis. And you would think an owner like Jim Irsay, who's down to save the whales, who's down to save the environment, would want to turn to Minshew.
Yeah, I we'll see what happens because I'm pro Minshew starting. I think Anthony Richardson has a potential to be really good, but I think let him ease into the league because if he goes out there week 1 right away, I mean, there's no telling what could happen. Now, what is an alarming stat for the Colts is that Anthony Richardson was their leading rusher, and maybe that's why they left him in the game. And I think the leading rusher stat, it is kind of a red flag right now, and some are saying the Colts could benefit from having a former MVP candidate running back on the field.
Yeah, it could definitely help them, I feel like. But, Jim Irsay, he's a smart guy. He's an owner. When he goes, look, you're not valuable to this position. We don't care if you die tomorrow. He doesn't care, I guess. So he doesn't care about Jonathan Taylor. So, you know what? Clearly, Colts don't need him. They got Anthony Richardson.
They don't need him, but they're still not going to let teams trade for them because the Dolphins, they tried to trade for Jonathan Taylor. Colts said no. Now, I'd love to see what that trade looked like. What was the offer? What was the offer? Was it like a bag of chips and a pack of Twizzlers? I'm not sure. But the Colts didn't like it. They didn't think it was fair. And so if the Colts are forced to hold on to Jonathan Taylor, I think they'll be interested to see how it plays out. But if you really think about it, Jonathan Taylor's in a tough position because the Colts are like, hey, you got till Tuesday to find a trade. Or else you're going to be stuck playing with us, for us. But the teams that do try to trade for you, we're going to reject their trades.
Josh, imagine like you're working just your regular 9-to-5 office job, and your manager comes up and is like, look, like you got a week to figure out where you're going to move for the whole next year. And by the way, if we don't like where you're trying to move to, we're just not going to let you do it. But you can't work here anymore.
No, exactly. So what happens when the next 5 teams that try to trade for Jonathan Taylor are rejected, and then Jonathan Taylor, Tuesday comes, Jonathan Taylor's walks into to whoever's office, and they're like, okay, you're Colt. Just get the pads on. Come on, suit up. And he's just like, what? I mean, that's just dysfunction. And I'm not sure if it's dysfunction on the Colts or if Jonathan Taylor is doing, I don't know what he's doing. But, they got to figure that out.
And Josh, we don't know because we're not inside the room. We're not inside the situation here. We're purely on the outside of the building. And we don't know if that's a deadline. We don't know if that's an 8 a.m. Tuesday deadline. We don't know if Jonathan Taylor thinks that's 11:59 p.m. deadline. So that's going to be interesting to see.
We have no idea. Hopefully Jonathan Taylor finds a team that he wants to play for. Hopefully the Colts, they bring in Kenyon Drake, though. So I guess their running back problems are kind of getting solved. And honestly,
Raven for life.
Well, if the Colts really wanted to solve their problems, here's what they'll do, because they know they want to get Anthony Richardson reps. That Colts know that, but they know that Minshew's playing maybe a little bit better. So you start Minshew as the quarterback, and you throw in Anthony Richardson as running back, and that's how you operate until Anthony Richardson feels comfortable in the games and comfortable enough to take over as quarterback.
Seems logical.
Yeah, I agree. It's cool. Moving on. Terry McLaurin could miss week 1 versus the Cardinals because of an injury that he suffered when he was in the Commanders-Ravens preseason game, because the Commanders played him the entire first half of a game that meant absolutely nothing, only to beat the Ravens' 24-game preseason streak, giving the Commanders, their best win in probably 10 years in the NFL,
if not more.
But some are saying the trade-off was not worth it.
Yeah, you lose Terry McLaurin to, possibly real games. And you're talking week 1, week 2. But the joy that brought that fan base, Josh, the joy that brought the players to take down a streak that they said didn't matter.
Yeah.
But looking at it, it mattered to them to beat the Ravens. It mattered.
Yeah.
Josh, that is worth it, right?
Well, it has to be worth it, I guess. And now, again, very interesting move for the Commanders to leave starters in for an entire half of football. Their starting lineup was in. That an NFL team played an entire half of a preseason game.
Against second and third stringers.
Now, to them, that was worth it, because I don't know if they 100% knew what Terry McLaurin was.
There's question marks around him.
There's question marks around him and how he's going to operate in this Sam Howell offense. So you get him out there, you get the reps, and ultimately, whether maybe he misses week 1, but week 2, you feel much better about your chances week 2 than you would about your week 1 chances with him without that one half of the preseason game.
Right. And Josh, I'm just saying, I'm out on Riverboat Ron. Like Ron Rivera, I'm out on the nickname. I'm out on Ron Rivera. He should no longer be able to call himself such a good nickname of Riverboat Ron, because this is the same guy that threw his offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, under the bus. Same guy that injured his star player on offense, Terry McLaurin, because he wanted to play in the preseason. Look, Ron Rivera's on the hot seat, and he's a lame duck head coach right now. Right now, he's got to basically win the division to keep his job, is what it feels like. But and I'm out on Riverboat Ron.
My question is, was there pressure though from Josh Harris to get this done? And was Magic Johnson sitting there saying, "Hey, I bought this team for a lot of money, and I want to start seeing wins." And Ron Rivera's like, "Well, it's only the preseason right now. Wins don't matter too much." And they're like, Josh Harris is like, "I bought this team to win. That winning is what we'll do." And then Ron Rivera's like, "Oh, shoot,
possible.
am I going to lose my job if we don't win this preseason game and snap the Ravens streak?" Okay, well, hey, Terry, I'm sorry. I know this is against protocol, but you got to get out there. We got to win this game.
And like, it's not from me; it's from higher ups.
The front office, the ownership, they want to start seeing wins, and what are we gonna do? And they got the win. So Ron Rivera might have just saved his job, actually, Patrick. But the Commanders, they're going against the Cardinals week 1, and we say Terry McLaurin getting hurt is a big deal, and it is a big deal if you can't play week 1. But then again, the quarterback battle for week 1 versus the Cardinals is, it is pretty shocking.
It's electric.
And pretty electric, the names that are on this list. So the Cardinals right now have a 4 quarterback battle between Joshua Dobbs, who they just acquired from Cleveland, Colt McCoy, David Blough, and Jeff Driscoll. And one of those guys is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL this year.
Yeah, that's tough, Josh. I'm going to say this. The Arizona Cardinals are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL of this century. They're terrible. And apparently they might not get Kyler Murray back this year. Okay? They're awful. But if you're the Arizona Cardinals, what do? You make a trade. You say, I don't know if we like Colt McCoy, David Blough, Jeff Driscoll. You're throwing in a lot of former Lions in there, and we know the Lions don't have a great history of winning. So
but they have a great continue, then I'll rebuttal, sorry.
Right. But you go out and you get a playoff adjacent quarterback, meaning a guy that started a game for the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
Season on the line, week 18 last year. Did he get the job done? No. But he came in because our guy Malik Willis, he wasn't up to speed yet in the offense.
Yeah.
Still learning everything. And he comes in, doesn't win, but confident enough in him that they trade for him. And Josh, that doesn't put him over the top. Joshua Dobbs might be a great guy, but he might be the quarterback of the worst team, one of the worst teams we've seen this century.
Well, that's the question, right? That's the question. Now, if I was the Cardinals, here's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
I would trade Kyler Murray for anything.
Okay.
Recognizing, hey,
boom,
we're going to suck this year. And what's the point of sucking this year and getting the number 1 draft pick to not draft Caleb Williams?
Fair.
That's what I'm saying. Can you imagine the Cardinals have their worst year in franchise history this year? They lose every game. They do something that, hasn't been done since Cleveland. And then you get the number 1 pick, and it's like, oh, well, by the way, the all-world best player that everyone's hyping up, best pick since Trevor Lawrence, is he's not going to our team because we have a 5'10" guy, who we paid a lot of money, who might be a top 20 quarterback if he plays his absolute best.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying we're looking into the future, and here's the Cardinals' plan: trade everyone, be terrible, get the number 1 pick, don't draft Caleb Williams.
Well, is that the plan? Because I'm saying the plan should not be that. I'm saying that should not be the plan. Do not. If you have the number 1 pick, unless I guess they'll get the number 1 pick and maybe they'll trade out of it and just be really boring. But the opportunity's there. It just are you guys gonna take and seize the opportunity? I don't know, but that's gonna be. They got a 4-way quarterback battle, and hopefully one of those guys is good enough to get them a couple wins this year. So
we'll see.
The Steelers shut out the Falcons in this preseason game. Kenny Pickett was playing; he looked pretty solid. George Pickens got a catch, but I think the real story is not on the Steelers side because I think everyone has a pretty good idea what the Steelers are going to be. The real story is on the Falcons because Desmond Ridder, the guy that they're saying is going to be the guy, just did not play.
I mean, that's what you get. He's a starting quarterback. He's star treatment around the facility, Josh.
So, got it. So he's like the Lamar Jackson level quarterback, not the Kenny Pickett, Anthony Richardson level.
Right, but hear me out, Josh, because Atlanta views their two QBs so highly. We're going to also give the same treatment to Taylor Heineke. And Taylor Heineke is maybe the backup, but also like may start some games. So look, Arthur Smith down there feels very confident in the two quarterbacks he's got.
Yeah, I mean, well, they didn't start Desmond Ridder. They didn't play Bijan. So your two guys right there already off the bat not playing. They think that, I guess they're just thinking, hey, these guys are good. They don't need to see any reps. We are fine. And if by the way, if the Falcons come out and they ball, I'll be like, I guess I didn't know. It feels like the Falcons are playing the exact 180 strategy that the Commanders are playing, and they both are probably in like the same tier of franchise right now. So
I agree.
So this season's going to really determine what's the best way to do it. And by the way, if the Falcons come out and ball and all their dudes are healthy, I'm never going to view the Commanders the same. The Commanders will always forever be like just a garbage franchise. Josh Harris changed nothing. So, yeah, but hopefully good for the Steelers. Doing good, though. Good for the Falcons, I guess, because sure they got shut out, but Desmond Ridder wasn't playing.
Yeah, but they didn't play the starters. Josh, you got to understand that.
Yeah. So Deshaun Watson says that Cleveland gave him the keys to the offense. Now, I guess they didn't give the keys to the offense to him last year. He had to kind of potentially work and get some more reps. But it wasn't really Cleveland's fault. They wanted to give the keys, but it's probably hard to give the keys to somebody who just is not even allowed in the building because of off-field actions.
Tough.
So he wasn't even really there to give him the keys. Like they made the copy, and because you have to remember that I guess the way that Cleveland does their kind of franchise is that the starting quarterback gets the keys to the stadium and has to live there. Is that what I've seen?
Right. We've learned that. We've learned that from Progressive. So
they gave him the keys, and so now I guess Deshaun Watson's living in the building. And I think that this is, I guess, exciting news if you're a Browns fan. You get a new logo in the offseason, and in the same offseason, you give the keys to a quarterback who, let's be real, like 4 years ago, really good.
Yes.
So, I mean,
yeah, it turns out that, right, it turns out that, playing football, like, helps you to stay good at football. And I think Deshaun Watson learned that last year because, look, not his fault. Didn't have the keys to the offense.
Didn't have them.
And when you look at it, they're going to try to be revolutionary this year. Maybe they're not traditional keys. Maybe it's a swipe in pass. Maybe it's, like a key fob.
Yep.
Could be like an Apple Wallet situation. Just get the phone out, swipe in.
Yeah.
And that's the type of offense that the Cleveland Browns are trying to build this year. It's a revolutionary offense. And it's nice that you get the quarterback that, second year. And we're talking about a veteran quarterback, because they didn't want to just hand over the keys of the offense to a veteran quarterback last year. They wanted to make him earn it, because if they haven't shown their loyalty to Deshaun Watson with the amount of money that they've given him, well, now they showed it by giving him those keys.
Yep. So great for him. Angel Reese, pivoting to college basketball here. Angel Reese, LSU star, national champion Angel Reese, can't go to class because she's too much of a celebrity on campus. Now, Patrick, I don't know how you feel about this, but I have to wonder. We've had a lot of high-profile LSU stars, right? We've had Joe Burrow, Livy Dunn, Shaquille O'Neal, Odell Beckham Jr., people who we consider A-list, go to LSU. And I want to know, were those guys going to class? And if they were, Angel Reese needs to be in class. Joe Burrow, after he won a national championship, I'm assuming he still classes, right?
I don't think so, Josh. I don't think Joe Burrow went to class after he won the national championship because he was going to get drafted. So he didn't need school anymore.
I think that's setting a bad example to people who look up to Joe, if that's the case. But, I mean, I don't know, Patrick, because you got to get in class because, remember, the education is it's different. The online education versus the in-class education is different. And remember, they're a student-athlete, not an athlete-student. Student comes first. Angel, now I'm not going to pretend to know what it's like to be Angel Reese on LSU campus. But, I mean, we got to make some accommodations to get you in the class. Because do they care about her? Does LSU care more about Angel Reese playing basketball than Angel Reese getting an education? And if they do, shame on you, LSU.
Yeah, and as a person that goes to a major university, Josh, I look around and I see the accommodations that some of these student athletes get. I mean, they get rides to class, they get shuttles to class, pretty much. If you're a star player, guess what? They're gonna find the best way to get you to that class. And if Angel Reese can't find it in LSU, then we've got two problems. We've got the staff's letting her down, or we've got some real crazy people at LSU. And I think it might be the second one.
It might be the second one. I've seen Louisiana is a state. And I'll
tell you what, down there, maybe up there, Baton Rouge. I mean, I hear they have a good time. I mean, and look, I've watched a little bit of LSU women's basketball. Looks like their coach has a good time. So that's the precedent they set on campus.
Yeah. So wild. Giannis won't sign an extension unless everything's good. Everything's he feels good about everything. All parties on the same page. I feel like that's I don't know. That feels like standard basketball.
Yeah, this doesn't feel good for Milwaukee though, because it.
You don't think they're going to be able to get on the same page?
We don't know if they're on the same page. A little bit of an aging roster. You start looking around. Giannis is like, look, I already did the thing. I brought a championship to Milwaukee. Maybe I go to a big city now, and. That's maybe the move that Giannis has got to look at. But we got to remember, whatever move Giannis makes, there's got to be another 2 roster spots for his brothers because they're a package deal.
That's right. Well, I think Giannis, if you went to Golden State, if you think about what he did on the Bucks with the roll shooters that they had, if he has the greatest shooters, I mean, we're talking about so many championships. So I'm going to learn a lot about what Giannis's priorities are based on what he does this offseason. And it's nothing wrong if he's a family guy, loyal guy, wants to be in Milwaukee. I get it. But
we love it.
But if he goes and he signs, no matter what team he signs for, I will judge it based on, is he going there for money or is he going there because he's going to win a ton of championships? And then that's going to tell me a lot about his character. So good for Giannis. Hopefully everything gets lines up for you. Last thing on the docket, we got NASCAR preview this week in Daytona. The cutoff race for the playoffs. Now, there are several high-profile drivers who are not locked in the playoffs right now. Chase Elliott being one of them. Now, this whole season, we said Chase is going to be fine. Chase will do all right. Sure, he got hurt, but it wasn't even his fault. It was the slope's fault, Sure,
right.
He misses the race because of a penalty, and he gets suspended. Well,
some argue Denny Hamlin shouldn't have been there.
Some say, yeah. I'm just gonna say, this season has not really gone the way Chase really could expect it, but he can't help it, and so I think this is going to be his race where he goes out and he's going to prove the haters wrong, and Chase Elliott is going to win at Daytona and it's going to make history.
Yeah, Josh, I'm going to go with a guy that's got a chance to go on an all-time run here. It's a guy that's setting up for the playoffs. It's a former champion, and it's a guy that you look around, and if he could just finish races.
By the way, Chase Elliott wasn't my pick. Chase Elliott wasn't my pick, by the way. That was me. That was a narrative I was talking here. I didn't want to be misinterpreted. I was saying that Chase Elliott needs to win, and I think he might be able to find a way.
Right, you were saying it's just a talking point you were talking about.
That was a talking point. Yeah, that's called narrative. That was building the show.
Yeah, that's journalism.
Yeah. Okay, go with your guy, and we might be picking the same person.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a guy, and it's Kyle Larson, and he's got a chance to go on an all-time run to set himself up for the playoffs here, because it might be the toughest race to finish this year, and he doesn't have a great track record of doing that this year. But you know what? He's got speed in that race car. He's gonna figure it out.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going with a guy who, again, might go on an all-time run. He's due. He's never been more due. That's Kyle Larson. But listen, it was a big NASCAR week for me, Patrick. I went to last night. Georgetown Speedway, the super late model series was coming through and coming into Georgetown.
Lucas Oil.
And yeah, the Lucas Oil super late model series came in to Georgetown, and I was particularly interested because Ross Chastain was going to be there and making his late model series debut along with Matt Shepard, who I guess, hey, listen, Matt Shepard, big time dirt racer. I came in line to get an autograph from Ross Chastain, and the people in front of me were like, yeah, I got no idea who this NASCAR dude Ross Chastain is, but I'll tell you what, Matt Shepard's here. Yeah, I'm going to get that autograph. Literally, I'm not even kidding you. Like, people not knowing who Ross Chastain was, so he was some NASCAR dude in the brain, but to them, Matt Shepard was the guy. So I get in this line, though, to get the autograph, and I'm meeting all kinds of characters. I'm about 5 people away from getting an autograph, and I made probably my favorite thing I've made in a while. I made a custom poster, one to give to Ross Chastain as a gift. I framed it and everything, and then one to get signed. Now, on that poster was him celebrating a victory, as well as maybe a few of his more eventful and exciting racing moments, i.e. with Denny Hamlin, i.e. with Kyle Larson. So I was 5 people away, and then all of a sudden he's like, I'm done. I got to go. Wrap it up. He gets up. I'm literally meeting the camera distance away from Ross Chastain. I'm like, are you kidding me? So he's walking around. I follow him. Into the pits. And I'm walking and I'm waiting. And his I'm like, Ross, I got something for you. Handler's like, meet us down by the pits. So I'm like, I go in and I walk and I'm going to the trailer, the hauler, and I get there and I'm waiting for him, and he comes by and he's doing his thing. I never get the opportunity. I was sat there for 30 minutes, 45 minutes with my poster that I made for him to give to him. My poster, other one, ready to sign. I didn't get it. Well,
Josh, what time did you show up to the track?
I showed up to the track 5.
What time did the autograph session start?
5.
You couldn't have just showed up a little earlier, got in line a little bit sooner?
Okay, well, listen.
I was told you were supposed to get there at 4:30.
Well, life.
I guarantee you, if you get there at 4:30, Josh, guess what? You get an autograph from Ross Chastain.
Well, life happens, but then I'm gonna get to the rest of the story.
Wait, you're telling me Josh and Dave Klein showed up late? I can't believe that. Well, I can't.
There was an issue where one of the parties was working and the other party was ready to leave. But we understand that the one person is paying for bills, so it's a big deal. But that being said,
and those in the flight credits, and you're not gonna.
Yeah. So, but also, I will say, I'm not calling it the Klein curse, but I'm calling it the Klein curse because I didn't get the autograph, and until I get an autograph Ross Chastain and Matt Shepard may never win a late models race ever because in their debut, I'll tell you what, Ross Chastain qualified dead last, right? Matt Shepard's car blew up. It didn't even make it to the beginning of the race. Then Ross Chastain, because he raced so poorly in his ride, he let Matt Shepard decide to race in his car. And Ross wasn't even going to race. And remember, take in mind, this is the B race, the bottom half of qualifying. This is not the A race. This is the B race. Matt Shepard goes out in Ross Chastain's car, and on like the third lap, take in mind, the only car that did this the entire night literally flips over and is fully upside down. And so I'm not saying this is a bad investment in the late model series teams by Ross Chastain. And I'm sure they got to figure out a lot of things. And obviously Matt Shepard, Matt Shepard and Ross Chastain making both of their debuts in the late model cars. I mean, but these dudes got owned. I mean, Ross Chastain was out qualified by a dude from Millsboro, Delaware, riding the Millsboro Pizza Palace car.
Yeah, but Josh, you got to remember that Millsboro Pizza Palace car, it's been on that track. It knows that dirt. Ross comes in, he flies in, he doesn't know.
That's fair. So, yeah.
He doesn't know. And you've done enough dirt racing in the sim to know not every dirt track's the same.
No, they're very
just because
different.
It looks the same, it isn't.
No, they're very different. You're right.
Josh, it sounds like you need the boys over at Nice Motorsports to make this right for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, if they let me gift Ross Chastain my gift, and I can get the autograph maybe in return, maybe they have success. And I gotta wonder what Ross Chastain's mental is going into Daytona after one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a race car from a driver. So,
yeah, Josh, I'm gonna argue he got his paycheck and he's gonna be happy to go back to Florida.
I'm sure he's definitely gonna be happy to be in a Cup car again. But does his boys dog on him? Does Kyle Larson get wind of this and say, you can't race dirt? What are we doing? I don't know, but it gave me a lot of perspective.
And Kyle can't make that argument until he comes to Georgetown and races on that dirt because it's a different dirt down there in Southern Delaware.
Oh, exactly. So he's got to come down, and like I said though, Ross Chastain. He, gives me a lot of perspective. Just because these guys are good NASCAR series drivers doesn't mean that they're going to automatically be able to hop in to a late model series and race against these guys. These late model racers, I mean, they're good. They're good. They got good setups. They know it.
And if it isn't the people over at Nice Motorsports that can make it right, hey, Justin Marks, Trackhouse, come on. Help a friend out.
The Mellon One team. We need you. So yeah, that's it. That was my story. I was so close. Could have had a Ross Chastain autograph. A couple people away. What are you gonna do? Great night though. Great night though. Still have solid time. Klein curse. If you want to break it, Ross, you know what to do. Anyway, that's the show. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. If you're still watching, DM us on Instagram at Picks and Pancakes, and you will get a free mug and a $10 McDonald's gift card. You just got to DM us to say, hey, I made it to the end of the episode. Also, we got another thing to say. Oh, picksandpancakes.com. Go to picksandpancakes.com to watch.
Boom.
And
blogs are up.
Read everything that's happening in sports. We'll see you guys on Monday for a full recap of this week's last week of preseason football, and to start what we're calling, the first official week of football.
Yeah, football's back.
This is electric. We're gonna have a full slate of content coming out starting next week with everything, including a new season of Picks and Pancakes, the flagship show that started us all. And so when you get the flagship show back, you feel good with the season 2.
We mean business.
We're back. We're up. So anyway, guys, we'll see you guys on Monday. You have a wonderful day. A peace.